content ideas. I know, the bane of our existence as small business owners. Creating fresh and relevant content on social media to help you market your business sometimes seems impossible and a lot of the times very frustrating. Whether you're looking to just engage your current audience, grow your audience, or you're looking to just simplify your content creation process, I have 3 different strategies that I want you guys to try out when you feel like you're running out of content ideas. The first strategy here is actually tapping into your current audience. And there are actually 3 different ways that you can do this. The first one here is actually doing like polling and market research. This doesn't really have to be overly complicated. We can just use the platforms that you're already creating content on. You can head into your Instagram stories and put out a poll or a question sticker. You can get on Zoom calls with your current clients and just see what questions they keep asking. But whatever avenue you go and you talk to people to try and generate content ideas, you have to make it simple for them to give you an answer. And here's what I mean by this. I don't want you to go on Instagram stories and say, hey, what do you guys want to see next from me on my next Instagram reel, and put up a question sticker. That causes so much friction with people. They're not going to want to take the time out of their day to think about what kind of content they want you to create and then go into your Instagram story and answer it. I bet we've all been there, we've all tried this method, and it ends up being crickets, and you get maybe 1 or 2 people kind of answering your question sticker. Instead, I want you to give them a question that they really want to answer. So, quick example here. At the time of recording this video, they just passed the TikTok ban in Congress, and I really wanted to create a piece of content to help small business owners strategize how they're going to get their audience from TikTok to other platforms, answer their questions, whatever. I could have simply put in my Instagram stories, hey, what questions do you have about the TikTok ban? And I know that I would have fallen flat. I may have gotten a couple of responses here and there. Instead, I went into my Instagram stories and I put up a poll, and it said something along the lines of, hey, I want to give you guys strategies to navigate this. Would you prefer it as, and then I inserted the poll sticker. Do you want a quick reel with all the information? Do you want a long form YouTube video with visuals? Or do you want me to create a podcast that you can listen to whenever you're running or whenever you're doing other things? And that made it easy for people to answer. I already kind of primed them, and I was like, hey, how do you want to see this content? That gave me so much direction with my content, and it helped me generate more content ideas. Because people, yes, would answer the poll, but I had so many DMs afterwards of like, hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? And I got so many content ideas just by making it easy for people to give them to me. So the next way that you can tap into your audience is actually through your FAQs. So I want you to think back to maybe your sales page, your website, or maybe in your discovery calls as you're trying to book a new client, you have a frequently asked questions slide. Whatever this looks like, I want you to tap back into that. Anything that you would put on that FAQ page, anything that you have to address as objections in your sales calls, or anything that your clients or your audience is asking you questions about on the daily, weekly, monthly, whatever repeat questions that you're getting from people, I promise you there is a gold mine of content sitting there for you. And this is a way for you to not only generate new content ideas, but you're handling objections in your buyer's journey, meaning you are answering questions that they might have before even purchasing from you, from giving you money, for booking a discovery call, whatever it is, you're helping them in that sales process. So this is kind of a win-win scenario here. And the last strategy here, tapping into your audience, is actually using your comment sections. So it doesn't matter what platform that you're producing content on. Vast majority of them have some form of a comment section where people can comment under your piece of content. And a lot of the times people are asking you questions there, or they are replying to something that you said in your video, in your post, that might spark an idea or another conversation. And a lot of these platforms like Instagram and TikTok make it easy for you to reply to that comment with a video, add it to your story. They make it easy for you to address that comment while creating a new piece of content. And I want you to really lean into those. Now, this is the question that I get all the time. They're like, what if I'm not getting comments like that? That's totally okay. Maybe you have a newer account. Maybe you have a smaller audience and you don't always have a ton of comments or questions under your posts. Instead, I want you to tap into other people's comments. And now, this doesn't have to be spammy. This doesn't have to be tacky. I don't want you going and responding to your competitor's comment section. No, no, no. We're just using it for research. So tap into and find somebody in your niche that has a larger account that does have a lot of comments, whether this is on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, wherever you consume content and wherever you create content. I want you to just go through the comment section and see what people are asking, see what people are commenting on that post, and use that as the foundation for a content idea that you can produce on your channel. Again, you are not responding on other people's posts, especially if it's a competitor. You're just using it as a way of, okay, if they provide something similar to me or they're in my industry and people are asking them this, it means people have this question and I want to be able to be the one to show up and answer it. Okay, so now that we've tackled that entire strategy with a couple of different ways, I want to talk to you about strategy number 2 here, and that's actually using search tools. Some of these you might be familiar with, and some of these I kind of want to reframe how you approach different search tools to help you generate content ideas. The first one is actually going to be the good old Google machine, and I want to reframe how you use Google to come up with content ideas. What I want you to do is go to a Google search bar and type in your specialty or your niche. It could be a question that you get asked frequently. Something that I like to do is I go and type in content strategy for small business owners. That is kind of the essence of everything that I do. And I will type that into Google and hit enter. And I actually don't want you to look at the search results. I don't want you to click on any of those links. We're going to avoid that entirely, which is where I know a lot of people tend to go when they're looking for new content ideas. You're like, let me go look at other people's content. Let me go see what other people are producing. No, we're going to avoid that entirely. Instead, I want you to scroll down a little bit until you see the section that says people also asked. And you're going to see maybe 4 or 5 different results that have little drop downs. And this is something that Google is indicating to you. These are things that people are searching for around that initial topic that you searched for. And when you click down one of those drop down buttons, it's going to continue to fill it up in like a query style. And eventually you're going to have this page long of other things that people have asked. Those are questions that you can answer in your content. Use some of those as the foundation for your content idea. Similarly, you can do the same thing on Pinterest and YouTube, but instead of like searching for a content idea, like you're going into Pinterest and like content ideas for a social media manager. No, we're gonna avoid that. I'm gonna head back up into that Pinterest search bar or that YouTube search bar, and I'm gonna type my niche, content strategy for small business owners. And before I hit enter and let that search run, you're going to see kind of a drop-down menu. There's going to be a list of things that people, again, are searching for. These are a good indication of content that currently isn't out there that people are looking for, and I want you to be the one to answer it. Again, not only does this give you good content ideas, but this is a win-win when in terms of SEO and discoverability. We could dive into that another day. That could be a whole YouTube video on its own, but just know that these are curated content ideas that your audience needs to hear from you. And then there are certain paid tools that I sometimes like to tap into, like vidIQ, Answer the Public, or ChatGPT, all with their pros and cons. But just know that anytime you go to these paid tools, they are clumping together a lot of different data points, a lot of different things that people are searching for, and it's going to give you very generic content ideas. So instead, I need you to put your own spin on them. So if I use something like vidIQ to help me create a new YouTube video, I may go in there and type in, again, we're just going to use that same search as content strategy for small business owners. And it might pop up and say social media strategy for small business owners, blah, blah, blah. Give me all these different things, all these different ideas. And instead, I want to put my spin on it. So the way I would craft a content idea out of that, I actually just did this a few videos ago. A lot of people were looking for content strategy. So I was like, I can't just create a video that says content strategy for small business owners. No, I created something that was like 5 steps to creating an effective content strategy, a guide. And I literally gave people everything they needed to know to create a simple content strategy. So I put my own spin on it and gave my own expertise, my own thoughts, my own opinions, and my own experience in that piece of content. Okay, this last one here is actually arguably my favorite because it involves a bit of repurposing and a little bit of creativity, but it doesn't require a ton of effort to give you endless content ideas. And that's actually creating content in multiple different formats. So maybe you used one of the previous methods that I've mentioned, and now you do have a content idea. Or maybe you had a content idea that performed really well for you in the past on a specific platform. We want to take that idea and expand on it in as many ways as possible. That way you can take that one content idea and create multiple pieces of content from it. So let's think of this in practical terms here. I want you to take your content idea and think of 3 different formats in which you can create it. Maybe the content idea is a list of tools that you're currently using as a web designer and you want to share that with your audience. The first way you could produce it is creating a reel where you're just talking to the camera and telling people about the tools. The second could be another reel where it's just listing out those different tools with B-roll in the background, text on the screen, and like a trending audio. You could then create an Instagram feed post and list it out more like an infographic and create something really pretty, and it just lists the tools, and in the caption you explain a bit more about it. And then you could take, again, that same information that you had in that Instagram feed post and in that caption and create a long form carousel where each slide talks about a different tool. But can you see how this works, where you can take one content idea and see how you can produce it in multiple ways, even on the same platform? I just gave you an example for 4 different posts that you could put out on Instagram throughout the entire month from one specific content idea. And then this leads us into content repurposing. And this can get overly complicated, but we could also start to take that Instagram carousel that you created with those 5 different tools, and you could take each of those slides and turn it into a talking head series where you create short form videos about each of those tools, and you can publish it on Instagram. You can publish it on TikTok, on Shorts, or wherever else you want to. And this is a really great way to tap into content that's already working for you. You don't need a ton of new content ideas. You just have to start thinking about content creation in a bit different of a way. And if this last way kind of interests you, I dive deeper into this inside of my workshop called the Content Curriculum. Inside of this workshop, I give you the framework to create 5 very strategic content pillars. And within that, we're creating topics and themes. And essentially, it's going to help you generate 325 content ideas, which arguably is enough to last you an entire year. And you can use those content ideas on repeat by using some of these strategies and these formulas year after year, hence the name curriculum. Kind of similar to how a teacher does it. Other than that, I hope you learned something in this video, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I will see you next week.